fluent Japanese, though, which is pretty cool. She can speak fluent Japanese. She talks to our relatives, my grandma. She would yell at my brother and I in Japanese. But, like, God forbid she hears anyone speak Spanish, and she's like, go back to America, or go back to... Fuck. I fucked that up. Scratch that, reverse it. We'll fix it in post. And clap.
Are you my lover? Are you my master? Are you my savior? Are you my devil? I am here to serve the goddess of love, the goddess of beauty, my end of days. Take me far to outer space, where I can see your face. Take me where I can die. Oh, please don't you cry. I will return. I will return.
Let's give it up to Zach's dad, Dr. Don Amon, everyone! Let's go!
All right, boy, look at the room. Hey, I tell you what, I am a vice principal, and when I came in here, I went, oh, ag room bathroom. Yeah, it's exactly what it smells like. I'm going to tell you a little story. When Zachary was about, 2 or 3, he had a Power Ranger onesie with the footies, pajamas, and the zipper, and he wore it all the time, and the zipper broke. And he used to run around the house singing Tub Thumping. I get knocked down, but I get up again. And then he would run around and fall down. I get up again, I never gonna keep me down. And then his mom and I, we got divorced, and I married the lovely Melissa right here. Yes, I've been married twice. I'm 6 years older than my first wife, 8 years older than my second wife. If there's anybody about 23, 24, I'm always looking for the third Mrs. Amon, so I'll meet you outside. Anyway, so when Zach gets to be about 6, 7, or 8 probably, we had a karaoke. I taught drama in high school at that time, and I got a karaoke machine to take to class. And so one night we're singing. It's getting close to when Zach has to go to bed. And Zachary had a high voice. His voice was real high like this. And he goes, Dad, I just want to sing 2 more songs. I was like, all right, Zach, what do you want to sing? He said, YMCA, and I Will Survive. I looked at Melissa and I said, Melissa, I'm just warning you now, someday he's going to wear a fanny pack. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Keel's Lounge proudly presents a live video recording. And if you're down with that, I've got 2 words for you. Zach Amon!
Thank you, Dad. Keep it going for Don Amon, everybody! I don't even need to do this. Let's just end it there. Let's just cut the tape, Jacob. It's over. Give it up one more time with my dad, everybody. Let me know. And everybody else you've seen this evening, give it up for yourselves. I'm sorry, standing room only. I didn't realize I was so popular. Thank you. Really appreciate it. And give it up one more time for Keel's Lounge. This is all going to be cut, but I want to get it in. We'll put this in the blooper reel. But no, thank you guys. I don't even want to do this. I don't want to do this at all. This is crazy. I was like, yeah, I'll do a special. I can do it. No, now I'm here, and I'm like, fuck, my dad crushed. How do I top that? I'm like, I should have taken the fanny pack off. That's the first step, but I asked everybody. I did a poll, like the election. It was like, should I wear the fanny pack? And everyone was like, if you don't, we're not coming. And I'm like, all right, I'll wear the fanny pack. So I appreciate you guys being here for that. Yes, thank you. Well, let's get into it. So you met my dad. You got to see my mom. That's it. That's the German, Italian, Japanese. That's me, right? Yeah, I'm German, Italian, Japanese. I'm the Axis powers of World War II. Combined into this guy wearing a fanny pack you see before you. But I grew up in a small town not far from here called Cushing, Oklahoma, and all that translated to was, "Hey, Asian kid!" Like that's, yeah, like that's it. I got picked on constantly, man. Kids would come up to me all the time and be like, "Hey, Zach, how's Hiroshima?" "Oh, it's gone!" And they'd run off into the night, and I'm like, whatever, I was tough. I could stand up for myself, you know. I'd be like, "Hey, guys, how's Pearl Harbor?" I got the shit kicked out of me for that joke, dude. But you gotta stand up for yourself. It was mine, you know. Girls would come up to me all the time and be like, "Zach, teach us kung fu, then do our nails." I'm like, that's not cool. I can't do kung fu. Like, sweep kicks no, acrylics yes. Ladies, I got you. But the thing that bothered me, the thing that I hated the most, was they always said I had squinty eyes. And I hated that. They would always come up to me like, "Hey, Zach, why don't you open your eyes when you talk to me, huh?" You know? And like I said, I was tough. I could stand up for myself. I'd be like, "Hey, Kyle, you gonna shoot up a school today?" I got beat up a lot for that. Never shot. Kyle liked the joke, thankfully. He had a good sense of humor. But yeah, like my dad said, my mom's here. My mom's Asian. My mom's Japanese, you know. My mom... Sit down. This isn't about you, mother. No, my mom's great. My mom is kind of funny because my mom was born in Japan but grew up her whole life here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So I like to consider my mom a white trash Asian. That's yeah, exactly. Like my mom loves just getting wrecked on Coors Light while sitting in a pool with a cowboy hat in our head. And I'm like, "What are you doing? You've never seen a horse." And she's like, "I'm trying to be Bret Michaels." And I'm like, "That's for the old people. That's for the older people." Like, she is smart. My mom's smart. She graduated college. But, like, the only piece of advice I remember my mom teaching me was, "Zach, don't shave all your pubes because women don't like bouncing on sandpaper." And she's right. You know, I can't deny. I keep it fluffy. I gotta... Sorry for my stepmom being in the audience. You know? Family. It's very odd. But yeah, my mom being Japanese, so that means, you know, her mom's Japanese, my grandma's Japanese. She's like full, like can't say her L's Japanese, you know? You know what I mean? I try to get her to say Mission Impossible all the time. She won't do it. She's caught on to me. But I just had lunch with her recently because every year, like, my entire life, her thing that she's wanted to teach me was like how to be financially like smart, financially independent, how to prepare for my future with finances. Like every year for my birthday or for Christmas, I would get a card with like a novel inside about how I should use this money to prepare for my future, you know? And I'm like, "Grandma, I'm 9. I don't know who Roth Ira is." I thought that was a singer. You know, like I thought a 401k was a TV. I had no idea. But I've started to do the same thing for her, you know, every year for her birthday or for Christmas, I get her a card with a nursing home pamphlet on the inside. And I'm like, "You need to start preparing for your future, Grandma." Because I didn't heed your financial advice. I'm performing a special at Keel's Lounge. What are you talking about? You think I'm making money? Come on. But yeah, I do make money though. Not from comedy, from having a boring job of bank telling. Yeah, it is a boring job. I do like to tell people I work in finance though. That's fun. When everyone's like, "What do you do?" I'm like, finance, you know. But all that really means is I'm doing a bunch of cocaine in the bathroom. That's all that really means. You know, they call me the Wolf of Memorial Street. Believe it or not. I will say, if you've never done cocaine or you stopped doing cocaine, get back on that wagon, everybody. It's the best. It's the best drug. It is, hands down, best drug. I've tried a lot, parents. I've tried a lot. Cocaine's the best drug. I firmly believe that if cocaine became legal, coffee would go out of business. All of coffee would be done. Like Starbucks would have to become Starbumps. Like scooters would have to become snooters. 7 Brews would become 8 Balls, you know? You just walk in and be like, "Let me get that flat white." And just rip it down. Gives a whole new meaning to Colombian. Doing cocaine has made me realize, though, that I am a lame person to do drugs with. You know, when you watch people on, like, TV or movies do cocaine, they're always out on the night on the town. They're having fun. They're partying. And I just sit in my garage and watch TikTok for 6 hours. Yeah. I had a buddy come over the other day. He was like, dude, let's do some lines. I'm like, cool, you want to watch dogs get groomed on YouTube? And he was like, why would I want to watch that? And I'm like, don't you think it's interesting that these old guys want to fuck these dogs? I think it's kind of interesting. I do love TikTok, though. My favorite thing on TikTok are the single moms dancing half naked with the kid in the back. I love these women. They're the best. They're like, look at me, I'm fun, I'm sexy. Like, yeah, I have a kid and a crippling TikTok addiction. And it's up to you to decide which red flag is worse. And I'm like, for me, it's that swastika tattoo. What have I stumbled upon? This is a crazy lane of TikTok. But there's always some douchebag in the comments that puts, that's someone's daughter. Every time. Go look. You'll see it every time. That's someone's daughter, you know? And that phrase only ever applies to, like, stuff like that, like sex work, dancing half naked in front of your kid. Like, you don't see a woman win a Nobel's Peace Prize and someone in the back, like, that's someone's daughter. Up there winning a Nobel Peace Prize. And for, like, dudes, it only applies to us for when we die. They're like, that was somebody's son. That was somebody's son who died in 9/11, you know? It's like, Jeffrey Dahmer was somebody's son. Who was also eating somebody's son. But at least he wasn't a stripper because that's someone's daughter and that's fucked up, right, ladies? Yeah, feminism. I'm one of you. What was I talking about? Jobs. Boring jobs. Jobs boring. But every once in a while, something cool will happen. Like, this guy came in the other day to cash a check, no big deal. He's on his phone, I'm doing my thing. All of a sudden, porn starts playing on his phone. Loud. Like, full volume pornography. And he freaked out. He was like, oh my God! And he shut it off and he looked at me and he was like, memes, right? I was like, yeah, dude, memes. Just be honest, we all knew it was porn. I knew the exact video he was watching. It's where the stepmom gets stuck in the stairs. I highly recommend it. It's good. It's good. Sound quality's good, lighting's good. I had a hard time believing she was a stepmom, but it's Hollywood, you know? What are you gonna do? I've done that joke a few times in front of my stepmom now, and the tension between us is awkward, I have to say. Every time I go home, I'm like, hey, stay away from the sink, the steps, the washing machine. According to the internet, I can't control myself, apparently, so I gotta be careful. I feel like it'd be crazy to date a porn star, personally. I feel like it'd be weird, you know? She comes home from work upset one day, you're like, what's wrong, honey? And she's like, oh, they fucked me over at work today. And over and over and over and over. We couldn't get the scene right. So you feel bad. You're like, I'll make you your favorite dinner. She's like, I appreciate that, but we did a group scene. I'm full. You couldn't introduce her to your friends, you know? You'd be like, hey guys, this is... We know. I'm a big fan. Your video went off at the bank the other day. I'm friends with that guy. We're bros. We have a lot of the same taste. I also feel like it'd be weird to date a magician, you know? You'd just be odd. In fact, there'd be a lot of awkward things that happen. She'd be like, honey, can you get my chapstick out of my purse? She'd be like, got you. Oh, a rabbit. That's cute. Okay, thank you, sweetie. That's very funny. You said it's in the front pocket? Okay. Oh, the big tube. Where the fuck is your chapstick? Like, you would just... I feel like you'd be on edge constantly. You'd be like, honey, let's have some sex tonight. And she's like, well, I've been on my period, but hold on. You're like, never mind. I'm just gonna go to bed. I feel like the fights would be ridiculous. You'd be like, oh, you can swallow the sword, but you can't suck my cock? Okay, Karen, that's great. That's cool. You said the rabbit's in the purse? Okay. I wanted to talk about my job, and I've just been going off on these tangents. But here's another thing about my job that I love is that people will bring their dogs to my work. And sometimes seeing the dog is better than the person. You know? Anybody here like dogs? Yeah, you like dogs? Yeah? Yeah, dogs rule. What's fun for me, though, is we have these little, like, milk bones for these dogs. And I like to look these people in the face and be like, does your dog want a bone? And then they look at me and they're like, does he mean the treat? And I was like, I want to bang your dog. Please, send him through. He's a dachshund. Don't go right through the tube. It'll be easy peasy. Let's go. Easy peasy. Obviously, I'm kidding. I'm a corgi guy. But yeah, it's fun. This guy came through the other day with a dog, and it was a very cute dog, super cute. And I was asking him some questions about it, and he was like, yeah, my dog's vegan. And so I called animal control. And they were like, well, is he physically assaulting the dog or verbally assaulting the dog? I'm like, no, he told me the dog's vegan. And they're like, we'll be right there. And they showed up and killed that guy. They shot him. They just shot him dead right there in the drive-thru. I was like, you guys gonna move that car, right? And they're like, no, do you want the dog? And I'm like, fuck no, get rid of that dog. I don't want that dog. You kidding me? I just didn't want it to be vegan. I don't want to take care of it. That's crazy. We have a lot of pretty ladies that'll come to my work. It's fun, you know. I like to be a little charming and notice, like, their hair or their nails, you know. A lot of women think guys don't notice that. We do. We just don't give a fuck. And, you know, there's this one lady that I, like, am particularly infatuated with, and she came in the other day, and she had her, like, nails all done, and I was like, oh, your nails look great. I love that color. She's like, oh, thanks. My husband likes them, too. I'm like, husband, have a good day, bitch. I thought we had something special. And then I meet the husband. I meet this husband. And, like, this woman looks like she was sculpted by Michelangelo himself. And her husband looks like a melted bag of cheese, you know? Like, you ever seen, like the nacho cheese? Like, it looks like that, you know? Like, he looks like a UFC fighter who just lost, like, bad, right? And I'm like, what the hell does this lady see in this guy? And then I look at his account, and I'm like, oh. There's 2 commas in that account. I'd suck his dick too. That's a lot of money. That's like, I barely have a decimal. You know, a pack of gum would bankrupt me at this point. I will say though, like, are there any parents in here? Obviously my parents are here, but like other parents. I'm not a parent. I don't have kids. I have a dog. I think dogs are better than kids, personally. That's just me. You know, everybody's like, dogs aren't better. They are better than kids, and here's why. Dogs love you unconditionally. They'll never kill you. They'll never take your money. They don't live as long. That's like a bonus. And like dogs don't, you know, dogs are the best. Like, kids don't lick peanut butter off your balls willingly, you know, but your dog will. Don't smell the dog's breath, Dad. I'm not a parent, but I like to impart wisdom on parents because I know you guys love that. Non-parent telling you what to do. But if you are a parent, please teach your kids how to bank. Just the basics of banking. Just the basics. Because I can't tell you how many kids come in and they don't know what they're doing. You know, like I had this girl come in the other day. She wanted to cash a check. And she was like, I've never done this before. And I'm like, okay, no big deal. I just need your license, and I need you to sign the back of the check. She signed the entire back of the check. And I was like, no, that's not what you're supposed to do. You're only supposed to sign here. She's like, well, I've never done this. I'm like, clearly, you know, big deal. And I just feel bad because, like, I am just finessing these kids out of so much money, okay? Like, every time I'm, like, cashing a check for them and they don't know what's going on, I'm like, yeah, there's a 7% fee off the top. And then I just pocket that 7% fee. Because as far as the computer's concerned, I've done it right, okay? And that's called embezzling, ladies and gentlemen. And my boss is over there. Keep your mouth shut, all right? Keep it quiet. Like I said, they don't call me the Wolf of Memorial Street for nothing, all right? There are whores on my lunch. I went down a YouTube rabbit hole the other day of watching footage of industrial shredders. You guys know what those are? Those big metal teeth that you can just throw it like a car engine, refrigerator and mulches it. I can't be the only person who watches those videos and thinks, put a person in there. You know? Like, put a person in there. Come on. Like, yeah, it's cool to see like a refrigerator get mulched because it seems indestructible. But put a person in there. You know? What if that became like the new death penalty? They're like, this Sunday on Netflix, we're dropping 50 murderers and 50 rapists into the pit of freedom into the teeth of Uncle Sam. Come check this event out starting at 7 Central, hosted by Rob Gronkowski and Kelly Ripa. You'd go. You'd watch. You call the boys, you call the girls, you get some pizza. You'd be like, we're going to watch people get crunched tonight. That's going to be sick. I also went down a YouTube rabbit hole of watching drag makeup tutorials. Ladies, you got to step it up. I'm not saying men can do everything better, but we're getting really close, all right? We can get pregnant now. What the fuck are you for anymore, you know? Personally, I do find trans women to be the best of both worlds. I'm like, trans women are the best of both worlds. They're usually beautiful. Not everyone's beautiful. They're usually beautiful, you know? They have boobs. Everybody likes boobs. Who likes boobs in here? Yeah, everybody likes boobs. If you ever meet someone that's like, hell no, I don't like boobs, kill that person, all right? That's a lizard person who runs the government, kill them, okay? And they have a dick, which is way more easier to navigate than a vagina. I don't know about you guys, but after a vagina, you got to take like a survey that was like, was it good for you? Would you recommend to a friend? Did you finish? You know? And with a dick, you can be like, oh my God. You did finish. Holy cow, that's a lot. It's a lot. I do find coming on a person's face disrespectful. I want to make that very clear. I do find it disrespectful. Every time I see it in a video, I'm like, oh, it's in her hair or eyes, or that looks terrible. But at the same time, if a girl asked me to come in her face, I wouldn't hesitate. I wouldn't even question. I'd be like, yes, ma'am. Boom, you know, just be like putting a cork off a champagne bottle. You ever kink a hose and then let it, that's what it would, yeah. It'd be like you just won a Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Award. You'd be like, and the winner is, whoa, oh! Just a thick green slime. Are you still having fun, my stepmom? Are you still having a good time? I'm trying to look above everyone's heads right now. I'm just staring at the NASCAR happening on the TV back here. I don't know if you guys get secondhand embarrassed, but let me tell you. She's all the hands. Vishnu wouldn't have enough. Thank you to my religious folks. I had this epiphany the other day that I probably smoke a little too much weed. Yeah, boo, for sure. And I realize this because anytime I get any amount of cash, I know exactly how much weed I can buy with said cash. I was telling my dad the other day with some yard work, and he paid me $50. And I was like, sweet, that's a quarter. And he was like, that's $50. And I was like, you don't get it. I'll talk to you later. Have fun at church, Dad. I'll see you. Like, I got paid for a comedy gig the other day, and I was like, sweet, I can get like 2 pre-rolls. That's awesome, you know? People who laugh hard at that understand that pre-rolls, not expensive. You can get them for a penny in some places, so comedy pays well. I'll be able to get at least a half of one after this. I saw my landlord the other day, and they were like, do you have rent? And I was like, rent? You mean 2 ounces, 6 edibles, 12 dabs, and 14 joints? No. I'm gonna be late this month, actually, again. I actually caught my brother smoking weed one time, and it was a big deal for me. He freaked out. He was like, oh my God, please don't be mad at me. Please don't be mad. Please don't tell Mom and Dad. I don't want them to be mad. Please I just don't want anybody to be mad at me. And I was like, dude, I don't care. Why is this a big deal? Why would anybody be mad? It's just weed. And he's like, I know, but it's your weed. And so I told my parents, and I got his PS5 and my weed. I've had a pretty good, couple months here. This is obviously, my brother's in the military now, so this is before he went to the military. So yeah, military, right? Yeah? No? Okay. It's kind of funny. My grandpa was in Vietnam. You guys remember Vietnam at all? You remember that one? The movie that had all those the war that had all those cool movies made after it? My grandpa, when my brother decided to go to the military, he started opening up more about his experience in the military. And he was telling us a story one time about this guy who stole a bunch of shit from people in their basic training. And he was like, and when we found out about it, we silenced him. And I was like, oh shit. I'm like, you killed that guy for stealing all your stuff? And he was like, no, we just ignored him for 6 months. We just didn't talk to him. I was like, wait a minute, you gave him the silent treatment? He's like, yeah, basically. And I was like, what kind of petty passive-aggressive shit is that? I was like, I thought they maybe beat the shit out of him with a pillowcase full of soap like that movie. But no, they just treated him like an angry girlfriend. I'm like, is that what my tax dollars are going to? And they're like, well, we would help Israel, but come on. I have a buddy. Do you guys have anybody, a friend that's just your exhausting buddy? Just an exhausting person to hang out with? Yeah, some of you are pointing at the person now. Yeah, I get that. I have a friend who gets mad at unrealistic things in movies. Right? All movies are unrealistic. It makes no sense. And the other day we were watching a movie and it was a period piece. It was an ancient civilization film set way in the past. And there's a scene where the characters walked into a restaurant and it completely took him out of the movie. He was like, what the fuck? Why would that be there? The concept of a restaurant wouldn't even have existed to this civilization. That is stupid. And I was like, dude, it's the Emperor's New Groove. I'm like, you're mad that they're in a restaurant, but not the fact that he's a talking llama? Or the fact that Disney made David Spade likable? Where are your priorities, dog? But yeah, he does this to me all the time. The other day I was hanging out with him and he just got a new car. He made me realize we measure things weird in this country. He was showing me this car and he was like, dude, look at all this trunk space. You can fit 6 bodies in here. I'm like, that's a weird way to measure trunk space. I'm like, if you just said 2 bodies in a duffel bag with a head, I'd have believed you. But 6, it's a Honda. No way. It's not happening. But I've started to notice this more. I was at an amusement park not too long ago, and I was waiting in line, and they always have facts about the roller coaster, and one of the facts was this roller coaster is as tall as 13 Statues of Liberty. And I was like, wow, how tall is the Statue of Liberty? They're about 26 buses. I'm like, what the fuck are these measurements? This makes no sense. But I've started applying it to my life now. The other day I was helping my stepdad with a project and he was like, I can't find my measuring tape. How long do you think this bit of wood is? I was like, I don't know, maybe 12 cats. And he was like, go inside. You're not helping me. I was single for a brief moment. I was talking to ladies on the internet, and this one lady was like, Zach, how big are you down there? And I was like, about 9 Tic Tacs. Would it help if they're orange? At least they're not multicolored, right, Steven? Hey, shout out to Steven, the camera guy here. He's got a multicolored Tic Tac penis. Okay. I'm kidding. Ladies, I hear it's 12 inches. Okay. Stupid. This same friend, though, the most annoying thing for me is he likes to go antiquing. He likes to go buy a bunch of old garbage shit at antique stores, because that's what they are. And the other day he called me and I was like, what's up, dude? He's like, bro, guess what I'm calling you on? I'm like, what? He's like, a rotary phone. And I was like, cool, dude, awesome. And he's like, yeah, check this out. Click, and he hung up. And it was loud. And I was offended. I was really offended. So I went and bought a musket and shot him. Isn't that cool? You just do that on a Tuesday in America? I'm just kidding. I didn't buy a musket, everybody. I silenced him. That's for sure. I haven't talked to him for 3 months. It's been a good 3 months. I guess since we're in Tulsa, I'll do a little local joke for the local people. You guys ever heard of 103.3 The Eagle, Tulsa's only classic rock station? I'm about to start some beef. You guys ever heard 103.3 The Eagle, Tulsa's only classic rock station? I like this station. They play classic rock, you know, Green Day and Nirvana and all that stuff. And every once in a while, they'll do this thing on there where they'll play rock blocks. And they'll pick a band and they'll play 3 songs in a row by said band. And the other day I was listening to them. And they were like, we got a Beatles rock block coming up. And I was like, oh, sweet, I like the Beatles. Anybody like the Beatles in here? Yeah? Yeah? You probably saw them live. But I was like, all right, cool, the Beatles, you know? And the first song they play is Imagine by John Lennon, which is not a Beatles song. He is a Beatle. Sorry. Was a Beatle. John Lennon was a Beatle. He died. Spoiler alert, John Lennon shot. A lot of people say it was an assassination. I think it was Courtney Love. Okay. But I was like, whatever, I'll let it slide. No big deal. The next song they play is Live and Let Die by Wings. Yeah, again, not a Beatles song. Okay? That is a Beatle who is alive. Paul McCartney, still alive. For how much longer, we don't know. He is an alien, after all. So I'm like, whatever. I'm kind of pissed at this point. I'm starting to Google 103.3 The Eagle, Tulsa's only classic rock station's numbers so that I can call him and give him peace of my mind. And then the last song comes on, and the last song is Come Together. And I'm like, oh, finally, a fucking Beatles song. But it was goddamn Aerosmith's version, dude. So you can bet I called and complained. But it just went straight to voicemail, so who knows if they heard it. I'm a millennial. Any millennials in here? Yeah, see. One thing about millennials I've noticed is we are not scared of death at all. Millennials are not scared of death. Have you ever tried to cross the road with one of us? Our entire lives we've been taught, hey, look both ways. Now we're like, no. I'm like, hit me. You know, like the end of the world could happen and millennials would be like, well, will it be done before rent is due? I have a lot of friends who talk about the apocalypse. I have a lot of friends that are obsessed with the apocalypse. I have friends that have go bags for the apocalypse. You know what a go bag is? Where you just, it's like the stuff you just like, in case something goes down, you're ready to go. That's what it is. They're like, Zach, what do you have in your go bag? I'm like, my go bag of the apocalypse would have a gun with 1 bullet in it. And that would be my dinner, okay? Because, like, they always talk about the zombie apocalypse. I'm like, I don't want to live through the zombie apocalypse because, like, I'm kind of a picky eater, dude. Like, I'm not eating canned anything, okay? Like, not at all. Like, I would rather get bit by a zombie and then eat you, because then at least I get some meat in my system. 'Cause I'll be goddamned if I'm gonna be vegan, dude. Like, I killed a dog about that earlier. I'm not about to do it myself. But yeah, we are not perplexed by death, millennials, and I know this by Instagram reels. I found this Instagram page the other day of people dying in car wrecks. Not funny. Don't know why I giggled. But I sent it to a friend, and he was like, why did you send this to me? And I was like, well, because I'm a firm believer that nobody suffers alone, right? But also, you could end up one of these videos one day somehow, and when you go into the comments, someone that's whose username is Come Slut for Trump is going to comment, does this hurt the car? You know? Somebody who's like Tit Milker 69 is going to be like, haha, human go, pfft. You know, you're just going to become a big joke, you know? Someone's going to comment on the video of you dying in a car wreck whose username is Fartin' on Bitches with a D. And they're going to write, LOL, typical female driver. And you're just going to be like, I'm not a chick, dude. Fuck. The lady I ran into was, but not me. There's a lot of ladies in here, I'm sorry. You guys remember when COVID was going on? Remember that, COVID? No? Me neither. During COVID, you know, we had to be trapped in our homes, and there was a time where we didn't have to work. And during that time of not working, I decided to start watching Jeopardy. Fans of Jeopardy? Just the old people? I went on a big tear watching Jeopardy, and I realized I got really into it, like a little too hard into Jeopardy. And there was a guy I was a big fan of. His name was Mark, and Mark was going on this tear, just tearing it up, crushing it. This was my guy. I was like, he can do no wrong. He's the best. And then one day, he's beaten by this bitch named Cindy. And Cindy at this moment became my greatest enemy, okay? I was like, if I have to be trapped in this house, you're my bitch, okay? Cindy starts going on a tear. And the entire time, I'm just like, please lose, please. I'm putting parlays on websites that haven't even, like, they already know the winner. I'm losing money because I'm a retard. But I'm just like, keep going. And I just want her to lose. Every time it feels like she's going to lose, she wins. And it just pisses me off and I'm angry. And then one day, she finally loses. And I freaked out. I cheered like my team had just won the Super Bowl. I was losing my mind. And then at the end of that episode, at the end of the credits, Alex Trebek, may he rest in peace, comes back on the screen. And he goes, what you saw there tonight was Cindy's last episode. Because she died of cancer right after we got done filming this episode. And I thought, even God doesn't like that bitch. Yeah! He's on my side. Fuck you, Cindy! How dare you? He knows. Cindy sucks, dude. Yeah, the guy in the overalls looks like he's working at a dock, knows what I'm talking about. You look like every guy I've seen on The Wire so far. Started watching that. I'm a little behind. 22 years behind on The Wire, but, it's good. Doing this, it was a weird decision to decide to do a special. Because I've been doing comedy a little bit, a while. Too long, some might say. And, when I first started doing comedy, a lot of it was like, I want to be my generation's Chappelle. I want to be the Richard Pryor of my time. Just the best that there is. And then as time has gone on, I'm like, I just kind of want to make a living at comedy. I just kind of want to be able to live. I don't need big fame. I just want to be able to be like, hey, what's up, Chappelle? Very, like, just become boys with Chappelle now at this point. I don't want to be the Chappelle. And now I've hit a point in comedy where, like, I just want to be, like, happy that people see me there. I kind of want to be like the McRib of comedy. That's what I want to be, Like, I show up for a little bit, everyone's excited, I go away for a little bit, and everybody's like, boy, I miss it. And then when I come back, there's a bunch of people that are like, oh, yeah, and then there's a bunch of people that are like, that guy sucks. And they're like, yeah, he sucks, but, like, it's, I like it personally. And then it's like, that's what I want to be, that is what my comedy goal has become, is to be the McRib. Like, I just want to be good enough at comedy that, like, I eventually get to meet Dua Lipa, I just want to meet Dua Lipa and then figure out how to be her cigarette, That's all I want to be, Just her cigarette, just around always, constantly in her mouth, and killing her slowly. That's what I want to be. Comedy-wise. But comedy's weird, man. Comedy has led me to a lot of interesting places. I'll tell you guys this story of one of my favorite comedy stories was I went and performed with Ian Fidance out in McAllister, Oklahoma. Now, if you don't know who Ian Fidance is, great comic, shout out. Name dropping, don't care. Now, McAllister, has anybody ever been there? Not like the prison route? But I did a show in McAllister, Oklahoma, and it was right after a 9-year breakup, okay? 9-year relationship, breakup, over. I was sad, devastated. I was sad because it was such a mutual breakup that I just wished it had a little bit of drama, Just a little bit, just so I wouldn't miss her as much, The one thing that I will say, though, that sucks about that breakup is she took the bidet. And guys, I used to have an immaculate asshole, okay? Like, the thing was, you could eat off of it. It was like a Buc-ee's bathroom. It was So nice. And now it just looks like a war-torn country. Like it's just debris. People are trapped. FEMA's got to get involved. The U.S. is sending a lot of money to it. You know, it looks like Gaza back there. So it was right after this breakup that I went and did this show at McAllister, opening for Ian. And the first show, at the end of the night, we went to this bar. And in the bar, there was a dance floor. And my friend that I asked host with me, his name's David. David was a line dancer. That was his thing. He grew up in Portland. His thing was line dancing. That's how he'd pick up chicks. And he's like, dude, I got to go cut a rug. I'm like, do your thing. I don't care. I'm sad. And so he goes out to dance, and he comes walking back with this older woman. This woman's got to be late 40s, early 50s kind of age, you know. And we're like talking. We're, just talking, bullshitting. And then at one point, this lady goes, listen, boys, I'm just going to be honest with you. Me and my boyfriend, we're hog hunters. And I was like, oh, wow, that's interesting. Like, you go hunt wild hogs? Like, that's pretty cool. And she's like, no, that means I'm going to blow you in my boyfriend's truck. And my buddy David, he's married. He goes, well, I'm married, but Zach just got out of a 9-year relationship. And I was like, what's your name again? And so I went with the lady. I went with the lady because in my head, I remember looking at David and going, look, if I'm not back in 10 minutes, come get me. If you see your boyfriend come walking out the door, come get me. Because in my head, I'm like, I'm either going to get head or I'm going to lose my head. And at the time, either or was a win-win situation. So I go out with this lady into the parking lot. We have a nice time. We're not going to get any... We have a nice time, okay? She's very nice. And we walk in. David always says when I walked back in, I had the biggest smile on my face. I was like, dude, I don't know about that. I was terrified that any of it happened at all. And so I go back up. We high five. She walks up to her boyfriend, and she makes out with him. Kind of weird. And then she's like, we're going to go to another bar because we're going to go pick up a chick and tag team her. And I was like, you are what God was about. And so we spent the rest of the night, David and I, just chilling at the bar, just joking with each other. And we came up with this little, like, pickup line that we were like, we wanted to use on girls. We were like, hey, does your boyfriend have a truck? You know, like, that was the line. We were like, if we start getting in, we're like, hey, does your boyfriend have a truck? You know? And we laugh about this all night, and we keep drinking. And then eventually we're like, all right, we got to go to the hotel. So we go to the hotel. And when we show up to the hotel, it's late. It's like midnight. There's no one at the front desk. And so my friend David and I were just standing there. There's nobody at the front desk. We wait like 3 minutes. Nobody shows up. And so we're like, hello? Is anybody there? And then this lady ends up coming walking around the corner. And she's like, oh, hey, boys, how you doing? We're like, oh, we're good. We're checking in. We're the comics. She's like, oh, yeah, you're on the second floor. So what you're going to want to do is go around that corner to the... And she gagged on us. Which is weird. And we were like, all right, well, okay. And she's like, sorry about that, guys. So anyway, the second floor, you just take the elevator up to 2. By the way, we have breakfast. She gags again. At this point, we're like, what the fuck's going on with this girl? What's happening? And then I'm a little mischievous guy, so I'm like, God, if she pukes, this will be the best night of my life. And it was like, this will be the greatest night ever. And she's like, I'm so sorry, boys. I don't know what's going on. She's like, anyway, breakfast is from 6 to 10. It's just over here around the... And finally, I had to look at this woman and be like, hey, does your boyfriend have a truck? He had a Sonata, still worked. Nice lady. I like this story a lot because it's a weird story. I one time met a guy with no legs who told me he had a penis and was very adamant that it worked. This was in college at a seminar. Just so you know what the liberal education system's going on. But he said something interesting. He was like, if you ever have a chance to have, sex with an amputee or, someone of that nature, give it a chance. You never know what you're missing, And at the time, I thought that was crazy, but then I thought about it more, and I was like, a perfect woman is one who won't run away during times of hardship. And she's even more perfect when she literally cannot run away from those hard times. He might be onto something. All right, not about the equal-bodied people here. All right, that's all right. This will be my last thing before I get out of here. I really appreciate you guys all hanging out and being a part of this. I have a hard time with minor inconveniences in my life. Minor inconveniences. Major things, no big deal. No big deal. They could be like, oh my God, you got in a car wreck. Killed 2 people. I'm like, that's a Monday. What are you going to do? You know, can't. They suck, you know. The other day I was making a sandwich and I didn't have any mayonnaise. Next thing I know, I'm hanging myself in the garage. And I'm like, dude, this isn't the way to handle this issue. Maybe you should just, go to Walmart and buy some mayonnaise. And then the thought of going to Walmart made me put a gun in my mouth. And I was like, again, Zach, dude, not a good way to handle that. Why don't you just, go outside, smoke a joint, think about it for a second. And the next thing I know, I'm standing over an industrial shredder. And I'm like, push me in, Gronk. Guys, that's my time. Thank you very much. Real quick, Spencer. Give it up for all the comics you saw this evening. Spencer Mills, Chrissy Isles, Isaiah Blue, Brian Bizjack. Give it up for the crew. Give it up for the bartenders, Reyna and B. B, bring that shot up here. I had this plan. I'm bringing B up. Give it up for B, everybody. She's one of the bartenders of Reyna as well. I told B, because B is our bartender here on Tuesdays when we do our open mic, and I said I want to close this show out by doing a shot with B. Cheers to you. Cheers to you guys. Thank you so much. This means a lot. This means the world. It'll be out on YouTube at some point. We'll get it out, but I really appreciate you all being here with me. And thank God it's over. Thank you. Have a good night. Get home safely. I love you all very much. And I'll see you around.
Hey, I only have time for a couple of questions before I have to go. What do we got? Anybody? Anybody have any questions they'd like me to answer? I'm an old man. I've been around a long time. By the way, Zach's mom's here. That's Mona. She actually produced Zach. I really had nothing to do with it. It was her and the guy that lived upstairs. His name was George. Hey, I won't tell the story, but I'm gonna tell it because she's here. George had red hair, right? So we lived in El Paso, Texas at the time, and I was supposed to go to school. I was supposed to go work at this other school it was on a Friday, and I was like, man, I really don't want to have to go over to West El Paso. You have to go around the mountain. I said, man, if you're gonna have Zach, have him tonight. So like at 3:30 in the morning, she goes, hey, I think my water broke. And I go, why do you think your water broke? Smash. She put my hand in. I went, let's go. And it just so happened that night that in El Paso, the Chevron refinery had a big explosion, and there were people all over in all the hospitals with blood and glass. And she's, huge, and she's trying to have a baby. And I'm like, hey, my wife she just needs to have a baby. We don't need to be in all this carnage. Can we get to where the babies are born? And so they finally get her upstairs, and it's 4 in the morning, and the nurse comes in, and I knew nothing about birth, about vaginas, nothing. Okay, and put me in, Coach Isaiah. Yeah, and so anyway, the lady, she comes in and she does something, and she goes, oh, she's not ready to have this baby. She's only dilated, da-da-da-da. And I was like, what? What's that mean? Oh, she has to be to a 10. And I'm like, well, where is she? Like, oh, she's at like 1.5. She knew that. Talk about measuring a pipe. She knew that, like by her finger. And as the day went on, because we were in there at 3, Zach wasn't born until probably 5 or 6 at night. It was late in the night. More people. There was a guy at one point in time just said Harry. HVAC. He's in there going, she's about an 8. She's about an 8. Anyway, we get down. When we get finally we take her down to the thing. She's gonna have the baby, and she's like, get on Mona. She's like, I'm not getting an epidural. I'm gonna have this baby naturally. I'm going to have this baby natural, like by 8 o'clock in the morning after 4 or 5 hours. Give me the fucking epidural! Right? So now she's had the epidural. She has no feeling whatsoever down here where the baby's going to come out. And they wheel us down in this room. And Dr. Cajas was our doctor. And Dr. Cajas was the guy who spoke real low. And he breathed. So like one time we had to go to his office, and it was my favorite line, I still say it to this day. Take off your panties. That's what he said. Anyway, so we're waiting for Dr. Cajas. All true, this is a true story, I'm not making anything. So Mona can't push Zach out because she's all, numb. And I'm sitting there going, it's an acting exercise. It's an acting exercise. Isolate the lower half of your body. She's like, fuck you, it's not an acting exercise. There is a lady on top of Zach, or on top of Mona, pushing her belly, trying to get this baby out. Dr. Cajas goes, the baby's head is crowning. Would you like to come see? And so I said, yeah, sure. So I walk around and I go, hey, Moan, there's a baby's head right there. And it's got red hair. And all the nurses were like, what, it doesn't have red hair. I go, shut up, I'm just messing with her. So that's how bullet-headed Zach came into this world right there. I wasn't even going to tell that story.